Welcome to After the Show, your weekly movie podcast brought to you by A. Scully and Sid Talk. We're addicted to movies. Are you? Hello, everybody. Welcome to After the Show. Hello, Sid Talk. How are you?
I'm well. And you?
I'm very well. Very, very well.
Very, very, very well. Here's a question I have for all people of all languages. Any word that is equal to very. And if you use it 3 times, what's the actual increment or amount of a very? So then if I say very, 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 it's a nerdy question, I know. But you know what I'm saying?
I'm not sure what you're saying, no. I
have
no idea.
I am very happy. So I'm very happy as in 110% happier than I was 5 minutes ago. And if I say very, very, am I 220% more happy than I was before? See what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do, but I don't know.
What's the quantifiable amount of very?
That sounds like a YouTube video that somebody will make.
Or has made already.
Yeah.
That is not the before the after the show discussion. The before the after discussion was really boring. It was about Twitter.
Twitter, boring.
Very boring.
I do like Twitter, but I don't like politics around Twitter.
Yeah, I
just like using Twitter.
I don't. I think it's really lame, and so that's why I don't care.
Well, I do.
I know you do. That's great.
All right, it's Saturday, July the 1st. Happy July, everybody. The best month of the year.
I mean, it is. It's attributable to the birth of you.
Yes, the birth of me.
We'll tell them a quick story when we first met on the internet way back in 1998. Yes, there was an internet back then. And we first discussed our birthdays. Remember, you're in England, I'm in America. And you
Correct.
said your birthday was 11/7.
And your birthday
is 11/7. But...
and then we were like, whoa, we have the same birthday?
Yeah, that's very weird. However, British people flip it around. So 11/7 is July. For me, 11/7 is November. So there you go.
Hard to forget each other's birthdays.
Well, I mean, there was that one year that I...
Oh, you did? Yes. Yes. I remember.
Let's not bring that up now.
No.
It's inappropriate.
Saturday, July the 1st, after the show number 794. This is a movie review podcast. We look at a new movie every week. This week, we're looking at the movie Fast X. It's a 2023 movie. You can stream it right now. It's PG-13 from our friends at Universal. Sid Talk, give us the synopsis of the movie Fast X.
No, thank you.
All right, I'll give you the synopsis.
Yes, please.
Dom Toretto and his family are targeted by the vengeful son of drug kingpin Hernan Reyes. Now, you have to be a fan to remember who that guy is.
Yeah, and you know what it reminded me of? I was like, oh, they took a page out of Scream's book and drug up some family of another bad guy who's been done away with by our team of people, whatever it is, and now we're just dragging them up. Yeah. It's the same thing.
What they basically did was, there was a bad guy in Fast 5 who met his demise, but he's got a son in the wings that you didn't know about until now who wants revenge. Family.
Oh, don't forget the son is deranged.
Yeah, deranged.
Is that the right word nowadays? He is deranged. He is a psychopath, a sociopath.
Yeah, it did say he was in and out of mental institutions and prisons.
Correct.
So, yes.
He has issues, this poor boy.
So Fast X is actually, it's the 10th movie in the Fast and the Furious franchise, but 11 if you count the spin-off Hobbs and Shaw. So we've seen them all. You haven't seen number 2 for some reason. I saw it on my own.
The reason is I don't care.
Yeah, but you saw all the other ones, just not number 2.
Yeah, because you watched it. You went rogue and just watched it.
I did. Yeah.
And probably because I said, just go rogue and watch it because I don't care.
Yeah.
And from the sounds of it, that was a fine choice.
Yeah, 2 was terrible. 3 is your favorite.
Yep.
We've seen them all. We know everything about Fast and Furious.
I don't because I'll be honest. When the person came up out of the submarine, I was like, oh, why is she here? I'd totally forgotten that she was in the past.
Yeah, but you forget a movie a week later. So
no, I forget movies I don't.
You're like Dory.
Dear. No. It has to matter, and I'll remember.
Fast X. How did you like it, Sid Talk?
It was fun.
I mean, you're not the biggest fan of the franchise.
I am not. I have to really stretch my mind a bit to allow, like at one point, we have what appears to be an 8-year-old child pulling a lever that shoots some rockets to kill people. And everyone's like, woo, good job. And I'm like, is anyone else? It doesn't matter. We don't know that they're bad guys. They just have a job. They're just thugs working for some asshole. Maybe they don't even know what they're doing. I mean, Finn was a stormtrooper.
Right.
But he was just a guy. And now we love him. So the thugs could just be people. And they're getting paid to do a job. And now he's getting blown up by a kid.
What you're just saying brings me back to Mitchell and Webb, the British comedians. There's a skit that they did, a sketch, where they're both Nazi commanders sat on a battlefield. And there's a war going on in front of them. And they're both drinking like a cup of tea, looking at each other and talking. And they look at the battlefield and then they look at each other and they go, are we the bad guys? Like it just dawned on them that they're the bad guys. So that's what that reminds me.
I don't know how funny that is, but
It is.
I'm going to have to just give you that one because I'm like, I don't know. I don't know if that's funny because I haven't seen it.
It's like you don't know you're the bad guys until like there's a moment when you realize, oh shit, it's us. We're the bad guys. Yeah, so this movie, it didn't change your mind about the Fast Furious?
No.
It's just more of it?
Tokyo Drift was my scene, so.
So it peaked at number 3 for you, and we're on number 10. So.
And I'm fine with the antics and the craziness, and once you get your mind there, but the stuff like the kid killing the people, everything else, I'm just like, whatever. You're dragging 2 helicopters out of the sky with 1 car, and you're on fire, but you set off your nitrous, and you've got a big ball bomb rolling down the streets of Rome.
That was pretty awesome, to be fair.
It was, but also you're just like, brain, come on, you're going to have to go over there and read an old book that you know about in your mind somewhere and ignore this movie. I say that I haven't read a lot of books either, but.
Would you read the Fast and the Furious novella trilogy?
No.
Or novella 10-book series, box set?
No. Is it a cookbook? If it's a cookbook, I'll read it. Now there is a cookbook I would be interested in. The Fast and the Furious cookbook.
There probably is one, to be fair. They do that these days, I've noticed. Like the Witcher cookbook. The Final Fantasy cookbook.
Does Bob's Burgers have a cookbook? Probably.
I mean,
Somebody's
why wouldn't
made
they?
it. I know.
So I really like the Fast and the Furious series. It's stupid. I understand that. It is really dumb. Usually I just let it off for being stupid.
But it's family.
But in this movie, what I noticed, I really liked this one. I thought it was fun. I'm just basically in it for the set pieces. I want to see like stuff blow up. Cars do stupid things that don't really make any sense. And, just dumb, like bad guy stuff. It's very similar to James Bond stuff.
As I said, Dom's car is like John Wick. And you said Dom Wick.
Dom Wick, yeah.
Like there's no killing this guy or this car.
No. Nothing makes any sense. It doesn't really even make any sense why they are doing what they're doing.
Nope.
Who are they?
Who's the
Family.
agency? The government agency.
Yeah, none of it makes sense. Don't even try and think it makes sense. In fact, I was thinking the other day, if you sat and watched all 10 movies in a row, would it make sense? I mean, they try and put little threads between things, but I don't think it fully makes sense. They also, I think, for a movie of this kind, expect a lot from you as a viewer to know, because they dig characters up. You're supposed to be like, oh yeah, that's that.
Literally.
And then, yeah, literally dig them up, yeah.
Literally, this is a franchise where if you die, we don't know for sure.
It doesn't matter.
We don't know for sure. It's like a soap opera, We watch EastEnders. We've had a few people return from the dead. One recently, Cindy Beale.
At the end of this movie, spoilers, there is a moment where people could be dead or they couldn't be dead, let's say, like a cliffhanger, literally.
Yeah.
That's supposed to be impactful. As a story plot beat, that would be impactful in any other movie. But in this movie, because I've seen so many people return from the dead, I don't care.
Yeah.
Because I know the credits to the next movie, the opening sequence starts, and there they all are behind the mountain.
Right.
They're all just like pulling the parachutes off and going, phew.
Climbing out of their fireproof vests and shit because they've just been in a plane crash that we assume they all died in. But if it was
another franchise, maybe more serious, I might have got some impact, but there was nothing.
Are you saying that in the next James Bond movie, he's going to be climbing out of a fireproof suit?
Yeah, after the end of the last one.
Spoiler alert, everyone.
I really admire what they did in that last one. It
I
was
do
pretty
too.
cool.
I admired that they blew up the Vatican in this one.
That was pretty cool,
almost.
too.
I mean, but they still let it blow up. I was like, yes.
I
Not
think
because
this-
it's the Vatican, but because we had a set piece with this big giant bomb crushing down the streets of Rome, coming toward the Vatican. And I'm thinking they're not going to let it blow up. They're going to dismantle it. Something's going to happen. And then it'll be like, woohoo, we saved the city. No, they let that shit blow up. I like that.
If you like action movies, that Vatican sequence, the 20 minutes of the ball rolling down I think it's worth seeing for that, because I think that's the best part of the movie. It's really, really fun action sequence. It's similar to an action sequence they have done before, which was the safe being dragged behind the car that you see at the beginning of this movie. It has this twist that, what kind of bomb was it? A hydrogen bomb?
No.
It was some crazy,
Yeah.
yeah.
What was it called? Neutron.
Yeah, so the stakes are really high. If this bomb goes off, it's going to be a lot of damage. Did they say how many people died, or did they not?
They said that the casualties were kept to a minimum. So
Yeah.
they didn't actually say.
I feel like you should go all in with those things. You should say half
Yeah,
a
but then
million
you've
people were
crossed
killed.
into a line.
But you would hate the bad guy more if you knew what he did exactly.
I guess.
And this bad guy, he's literally Dick Dastardly,
Yes.
like mustache twirl, bit of a wink to the camera, very silly baddie. Because he's mental, and there's a scene in this where he's sat in a backyard with a couple of corpses talking to them.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, this guy is fucking insane. Like, he is, in this movie, I think that he is going to do something terrible to our crew. Possibly kill Dom at some point, and then Dom will come back. He'll be in a flaming car, and then he'll just walk out of the flaming car and go.
Because one of the themes of this one is not just family, but faith in Dom.
Oh, they do the
apparently.
faith as well, don't they?
But not faith in anything particular. There's a cross with some blood on it, but it's faith in Dom that we're talking about.
Like, we're all fine because he'll always come to
Yeah.
our rescue or something.
Correct.
He has turned into John Wick, really, in a big
Yep.
way. None of it's believable. Tell you what I did notice in this movie that stood out to me is how bad the dialogue is.
It's very bad.
You know the dialogue between the British lady and all those lot?
Yes.
It's just, they walk in and they're doing the exposition thing, but they never really have a conversation with each other. They just
it's
tell
awful.
you. As they were doing it, I was like, oh wow, who wrote this? Like, because it's just garbage. They might as well be quiet and just walk down the thing.
Yeah,
Because
they're not telling us any story. They're not, it's exposition.
they try
but
and
it's
throw
not,
a joke in every now and then, which
Yeah.
doesn't always work.
And then they go to some lame ass little internet cafe where
Pete Davidson is behind the counter.
I don't know who he is, so it didn't matter to me. It just was really waste of the time in the movie. It wasn't moving anything along except that he turned them in. So then the guys with the machine guns show up to get them. I mean, there was nothing, we didn't move forward in the story at all. And I understand this is Fast and the Furious. I shouldn't expect a story. But the thing is, they are still telling me a story, right?
Yeah.
There's a bad guy / person because we get another bad lady show up. Let's
Yes.
not forget. We have what's her name in the movie?
Cypher.
Cypher. And she's bad. She's got mental issues of her own, but she's just a complete narcissist. Whereas the other guy is the sociopath, right?
Yeah.
So we get her too. So we got her story layered on top, and then she's like, "You've got to know what's coming. What's coming? Is this guy a threat to the whole human race? Is that the story you're telling me, or like what are we leading up to?"
If he turns out to have a nuke silo and he's going to bomb a whole country or something, I wouldn't be going, oh, that's stupid.
Right. Yeah. Got it.
Because, I think that might happen, something like that. Because he is absolutely nuts. And he seems to have unlimited resources, unlimited everything, time,
True.
henchmen, cars.
He's thought of everything ahead of time.
Yeah,
he's
you like
very
that
well
about him, didn't you?
organized. Yes, he's very well organized.
Yeah, because there's a very specific situation that he's always having to go into, and he's always got exactly what you need to sort that out, like 2 helicopters, a bomb, a tracker, some bombs that automatically go on cars that you want to blow up.
Yeah,
Like you just throw them and they just go on them. But there's no.
he's prepared. he's running his business very, very sleek, very slick.
So it is mental. The plot is meant, you know what it reminds me of? Like Saturday morning cartoons. Like really,
But so does John Wick.
Yeah. John Wick more like, because John Wick's got like a serious edge to it. Well, they try and have a serious edge to this. That's a weird thing.
Yeah.
Even though it's like jokey and silly, you never catch Vin Diesel being jokey and silly in this movie, do you? He's playing it serious. It's all serious. He never laughs
a lot.
Yeah, but then when you go over to Roman and Tage, they're just like yucking it up all the time.
They are, and it's really boring. Oh my God, the parts where they're talking, I'm just like wah 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 wah. All of them, everyone who's peripheral, and I'm talking about Dom as well. All the talking,
yeah,
is like, I would almost say, you know what? Just put it to music, any music. I don't care. Put it to the overture or any genre of music. Make a 2-hour long music video. I'll watch it because that's what it feels like it should be.
I mean, that is what it is. It's just action and bad dialogue. The story, I remember Vin Diesel saying when they were going for this one, the final couple of movies that they're making, that he's got this brand new idea that's going to invigorate the whole thing. Then watching this movie, I'm like, this isn't a brand new idea. It's ideas you've already done, taken from, and then the same, right?
Recycled.
It's the same.
Recycled.
It's literally got a sub that comes up from under the ice. That was in another movie.
Dead people who are still alive.
Actually, the opening of the movie is basically just scenes from Fast 5.
Correct.
A car with a rocket launcher on it. They've done that before.
Not that
exactly,
close.
but they've had that before, like a Mad Max type vehicle. A lot of stuff that you've seen before. I can't think of anything new in this movie where I'm like,
well, the big bomb rolling down the street was new.
But they've had a safe rolling through the city.
True.
It's similar with wires.
But I mean, the safe wasn't going to blow up.
They've also gone over a dam before. And I think there's a dam at the end of this movie. I think they were trying to reference the other one. I don't know. It seemed like a lot of recycled ideas. But they did try and...
Well, let's be honest. All stories are recycled ideas.
Yeah, they did try and amp it up a little. And I do find the action really good. They use a lot of like practical stunts, believe it or not, even though a lot of it looks like CG. There's a lot of CG cars, right?
Yeah.
There's actually a CG Vin Diesel at some point.
Oh, was there? I didn't catch that.
Yeah, the one where where the camera goes through the vehicle and up his arm and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's just basically computer game Vin Diesel and his son. I mean, you can't do this for real because there are things where 2 helicopters are pulling on a car and then a car spins like 4 times in the air and lands and carries on driving. It's impossible to do it. So they use CG and then it looks a bit like Hot Wheels to me. Like little Hot Wheels cars. Because they pull out when they do something strange like that. But I don't think it ruins it, the CG.
I don't know if anything can.
Yeah,
like I said to you before it started, because you really like them, I said, at least you're never going to be disappointed.
Yeah, you never...
Because there isn't anything... There really isn't.
What I know I'm going to get into a Fast movie is at least 3 big set pieces. One at the beginning, one in the middle, one at the end. Which is exactly what you get in this movie. They're bigger than last time. Pretty much. They go on longer. Mm-hmm. You might not like that because it really goes on long.
Yeah, it really does.
The movie's 2 hours and 21 minutes, so there's a lot of stuff. It ends on a huge cliffhanger, which I feels a bit cheap. I understand it's part of 2 movies, but doesn't it feel like you're a bit robbed at the end?
Yep. Well, I mean, I'm not feel robbed, but I feel like, oh, so now... If I'm really interested, I'm going to have to watch the next one. I'm not that interested.
I'm going to have to wait 3 years.
But I'm sure that you will have us review it, and thereby I will be watching it. If I'm still in this world,
I do think that
I'll be watching the next Fast and the Furious.
I do think as far as action movies go, they're some of the most entertaining for me. I do like the Mission Impossible franchise. I feel like that's a similar type of level of stunts and stuff.
I'm more of a Bourne kind of a person.
You like Mission Impossible as well, right?
I like Mission Impossible, but I like Bourne more, like and more I don't.
Gritty.
It's a little gritty. I mean, I don't always understand all the subterfuge and all of that, but and what else is there that's kind of?
I was trying to think of other big, huge like franchise. Oh, James Bond, clearly.
I like more individual ones. Like, I did like Atomic Blonde, which we're circling back on because Charlize Theron.
Yeah, and that's like it's a bit John Wick with a woman, though.
Well, that's insulting. How about he's more Atomic Blonde?
Well, John Wick came first. Is that what I was getting?
Do we know? When was Atomic Blonde written?
Oh, I have no idea.
See, you're just assuming it probably was. But I'm just saying, I like stuff like that, like standalone, where you've got like standalone movies where you get the whole world. Now, Atomic Blonde hints at like a whole network and a whole thing, right? Of where you could make another movie about another Atomic Blonde or about her.
Funny
or
you
that
should
world.
say that. They are making one.
I mean, it was good. I liked it. And then you've got Red Sparrow and things like that, which wasn't great, but same lines,
I was just thinking about the Mission Impossible movies. That actually started out. The first one was very espionage and not ridiculous. But they also grew to the point where like the stunts are insane, didn't they? Like this Fast and the Furious, where you're like, oh, that first one was pretty reined in, but now it's like we're jumping off buildings and stuff.
Well, last time we went to space.
In Fast and the Furious 9, they did go to space.
The car floated all the way to space.
It went into the atmosphere, didn't it?
It went
then came back down again.
Yeah.
But they did like have that moment where they're like, we're in space. The end. I mean, what can we do now?
I told you, go to the core of the Earth. So we haven't been to the core yet.
No.
We haven't literally taken our crew and put them on the space station or landed on another planet.
Maybe Aquaman's lair is under the ocean. And then the next one, we go down there and kill him.
I doubt it.
All right, so let's move on to the cast of this movie. Vin Diesel plays Dom Toretto. He's back.
Well, that's Vin Diesel. Oh, all right.
Yeah. I mean, he's pretty one note, to be fair. Family.
He's beloved. Don't make fun of him. He's beloved.
Yeah. Would like him to stop doing this and go back and do some more Pitch Black.
Riddick.
Yeah.
Do we need to go back to the planet where Pitch Black is? We've talked about Pitch Black before.
Yeah.
It's really good.
Yeah.
It's really good, and it's not good because of him.
I heard him talking about it recently, saying he's always wants to he's got it in his mind, like it's his pet project. He's not done with it. He's got to come up with something that's good enough to do, though.
Right, but I don't know if I trust his standard.
Yeah. He probably wants to make it like giant and like ridiculous.
Like Riddick.
Whereas it should be small and horrifying.
Right? I think the game Riddick was better than the movies.
The Riddick game was impressive.
Yeah.
Very cool. Escape from Butcher Bay, it was called. He had to get out of a prison. It was just really tense and crazy. Vin is back. Michelle Rodriguez is also back as Lottie. What did you think of her?
This was one character that had been dead, and then she was alive. So, yes. Not in this movie, but...
Doesn't matter.
She's alive in this movie, yes. She's fine. She's grown on me over the years. Michelle Rodriguez, I think maybe just because familiarity.
Yeah.
She's there, and she's fine, and she's all in, like in their romantic kind of scenes. I mean, she's just all in, and I appreciate that. It gives more realism to their relationship, but then, we've got helicopters hanging onto cars and shit like that, so it's a bad contrast to me.
She gets to ride a motorcycle all over the...
Was it her?
It didn't look like it, to be fair. Maybe. The parts where it was stunts, no. The parts where she just sit there still, yes.
Yeah.
We got Jason Statham returning as Shaw. I like Jason. This is directed by the director of The Transporter, so Jason's worked with this guy before, clearly. And Jason, a part in this movie where Jason gets all his guns in a bag and then leaves, and you don't see him again.
He's going off to that other movie.
That's probably it, isn't it? I bet it is like a Hobbs and Shaw 2 is where he has to go and rescue his mum.
Yes, someone's threatening his mom, and it's crazy Aquaman, and he has to go with his backpack full of weapons.
That's what I didn't think of that. But I was like, why didn't we wrap that part up?
That movie just wrote itself.
Yeah. We've got Jordana Brewster as Mia. Blink and you'll miss her. She's
she has some fight scenes. She was all right.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, she does have a fight scene.
Yeah.
Yes. Tyrese Gibson as Roman and Ludacris as Tage. What do you think of those two? They're the joke.
No offense, gentlemen, and I'm sure you're listening to this, but my God, can't you sit down with the writers? And I apologize if you wrote these scenes, but my God, there needs to be some substance, anything at all. If you're going to take a 5 to 10 minute scene, right, in a movie with a group of people, it just needs to have something.
Yeah.
Not just that you look good and that you're
Or
cool.
it's supposed to be funny.
It's it needs to be functional or something of value, because I'm not a skipper person, fast forwarder, but I'm telling you now, if I was locked in a room and I had one channel on cable to watch for the rest of my life and this movie came on, I would be skipping those parts every time. And I'm not a skipper. And I would have all the time in the world to just watch whatever that movie over and over. But nope, I'm going to skip those parts.
Yeah. Charlize Theron comes back as Cypher, and there's a bit of a spin on her. Like, is she good? Is she
Were
bad?
you surprised?
I was surprised when the bloody hand was on the mailbox. I was like, what's this all about?
Yeah.
And I was like, whoa, here she is. Yeah, I like her, and I think she's a good addition to the whole thing. And it's complicated what she actually is.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I liked her.
I mean, not really. She was the other bad guy with unlimited resources, and then the new bad guy decides to
there's some... Even
kill her.
she's scared of this guy.
Yeah, he comes and steals all of her resources. I mean,
She's
it's pretty
like,
simple.
Tonight, I saw the devil. And she's like the worst person.
Yeah, and she's like, I thought that was me.
Yeah. We've also got a new addition here. Brie Larson plays Tess. Underutilized?
No, she's fine. I mean, you can't because...
She's the daughter of Mr. Nobody.
And who's Mr. Nobody?
Kurt Russell.
I know, but who is he?
Who doesn't turn up in this movie.
But what is he?
He's like the head of the agency.
What's the agency?
No idea. I told you, I don't know.
The agency
CIA.
is
like
no, it's just the agency.
Yeah.
Above all the other government agencies. And this is where they get all their resources to thwart all of the world threats.
It doesn't make any sense.
It's sort of like S.H.I.E.L.D.,
yes.
I'm guessing, but not with aliens and shit
or
like
any
that.
superheroes.
Yeah.
Apart from Dom.
Well, now we have Ms. Marvel. We have Ms. Marvel, right? Is our name? Ms. Marvel?
Yeah.
We have Wonder Woman. We also have Aquaman.
They don't have any of the powers, unfortunately.
So who else? There was one more. Somebody else is a superhero in this movie.
It's in the next movie. Robert Downey Jr. is joining the cast.
That's right. So Iron Man will be joining. So yeah, we're on our way.
We've also got Jason Momoa as Dante. He's the bad guy. I think he looked like he was having a lot of fun playing this
Yes,
part.
I agree. I liked him.
And he did like weird body movements and stuff that made me like go, this guy is fucking nuts. It's very silly, the portrayal of him. It's also threatening in a way because you're like, I don't know what he's going to do.
Correct.
He's sat down with some corpses talking, and then the next scene he's like, fine. I know it's weird. It's very weird. Who else did we have? No, that's pretty much it. Louis Leterrier is the director for this one. There was a problem with this movie, you know. Justin Lin was directing this movie, right? He's directed several of the movies, including the one that you like. And then he had a difference of opinion with Vin Diesel and left.
Ooh.
And then they brought in Louis Leterrier, who is the director of Transporter, Now You See Me, and Unleashed with Jet Li. So he was he came in after. And So what did you think of directing? Or does it even matter?
I don't feel like it matters.
It's like a Marvel movie, right?
You're a
it's just a
project
big
manager. Thing. You know, you're the go-to, or you're the bottom of the funnel, however you want to look at it, peak of the mountain, bottom of the funnel, where all the shit rolls down to or goes up to. So at the beginning of the day, when they have the big meeting about all the shots and everything that's going to happen, you're the leader. You're supposed to be the leader. I feel like that's the role you're playing here versus like I have a vision for a really interesting, intricate human tale with lots of action. And you know what I mean? And then everyone gets on board with that individual's idea of what he wants this cinematic experience to be. That's more directorial to me. Whereas I feel like in this kind of movie, you are the head honcho. Does that seem fair? I could be totally correct on that. And if you're listening, then you can just let me know.
So IMDb reviews, what are those?
IMDb reviews, where people talk about how much they do or don't like a movie. And you love the 1-star reviews. 1 star is not like, hey, you get a gold star. It's like 1 out of 5, which is as close to 0 as you can get.
So the first guy says, this is the worst movie I've ever seen.
Worst movie I've ever seen. It's a classic.
I literally can't believe they spent so much money on this movie and people like it. It's garbage. Do not waste your time. I swear that same review is in every week.
It's the one person who just copies and pastes it on every movie.
Yeah. Second one says, with the Final Fantasy series died, it will logic after Paul died. This is legitimately what this
It
guy
will
said.
logic after that, yeah.
It was good film from the series, actually, from poor kids stealing. And the love of race. Now it has some original vibe and magic. Oh, it does have a bit of magic. This is a shame, because it was recorded for money with an idiotic plot.
It was.
I like that one. It's good. That should be on the poster. This was recorded for money with an idiotic plot.
Oh my God, that is so... I would love that. That's so funny.
Number 3 guy says, over 2-hour waste of life with no conclusion.
Oh my God.
The villain was weird and annoying. I have no intention of watching the next and hopefully the final. My big complaint is turning everybody into a freak. People are dressed stupidly. Sorry, this review is so wordy, but they require me to write 600 words. Will anybody even read them?
That's like breaking the fourth wall right there. Like I want you to be aware that I'm writing a review and making you aware that I'm writing a review.
Exactly.
And part of my review is about writing the review.
Extras, we didn't see any because we watched the streaming version. Conclusion, we're going to give Fast X a score. I am going to give Fast X a 6 out of 10.
6 is high. I'm going with a solid 4.8 because it's
entertaining.
If I'm talking about averaging out my experience watching movies, it's just right there, but a little bit under in the mid range where if I really did have a choice and I was alone and I'm like, flipping around channels, it would be a hard choice to make to watch it. Right. You know what I'm saying? Or if I'm into it a little bit and I'm just like, what else is on? So that's why it's a little below the middle.
All right. Thank you to Universal. Next week, we're going to look at Ari Aster. You know that guy?
No.
Ari Aster is the director of the movie Hereditary and Midsommar.
Oh, my God.
Well, he has a new movie out called Beau is Afraid. And we're going to look at that.
You're going to love it. I mean, you will say that you will love it because you attach to things and ideas and franchises and people's visions.
Let me tell you that this is not a horror movie. So he's taking a turn.
Taking a turn for the West.
Movie recommendations. I am going with Pitch Black, which we talked about earlier.
Risky.
And The Transporter, which I really love the Transporter franchise. It's just a really kick-ass action movie. And I do have a thing for where you have to take one thing from one place to another, hence the Transporter, in a flashy car and also fight people along the way.
And what's my favorite part of Transporter?
Jason Statham catches a woman and then throws the woman at a man and hits him with her.
As a weapon.
Yeah.
Up over his head, just flops
it is
the woman.
Pretty cool. Also the scene where he just kicks the door in.
Oh yeah. It's like when Han just doesn't, or not Han, sorry, wrong movie, wrong Han. Indiana, right?
Yes.
He's he's supposed to fight the guy and then he just shoots him I can't even deal with this.
This is just he goes up to the den and there's a guy behind the door, looks through the peephole.
You think there's going to be some big long thing.
There's nothing, just kick and flat.
Like a cartoon.
Yeah. It's good, The Transporter. There's 3 of the 3 movies. They're all pretty cool.
I don't know if good's a strong word, but
I mean, they're of the time for sure.
For sure.
Yeah. What are your recommendations?
My recommendations are science fiction from the 21st century, meaning movies that started in the year 2000 up till now. Now that we're in July, everyone. July. We're halfway through this year. So 2023 is me going over the entire time frame since the year 2000, at least until now, because I can't tell you about movies from the future. And I'm up to the year 2015. And guess what?
What?
Nothing to do with this movie, hardly at all. So Insurgent, 2015.
That was...
Is that Divergent Insurgent?
Divergent sequel.
Okay. Divergent Insurgent.
Yes.
I didn't mind those movies. Then we have Jupiter Ascending, which had such potential.
Wachowskis, right?
So much potential. Such a big idea.
It's like a big space thing, but
we're a million years in the future or whatever, right? Like it's so much potential, and yet I should watch it again. Maybe I'll like attach more to it. But then we have one of your favorites, Mad Max Fury Road.
I love it. If you love a car chase, that's your ultimate car chase.
Also with Charlize Theron.
Yes.
That's also 2015. And then we have Powers from 2015.
I don't remember it.
Powers.
Is it Austin
I think
Powers?
It's like teenagers with some sort of superpowers.
Yeah, Project Almanac is that.
So
right?
Both of them. Project Almanac is the next one.
Oh, I didn't see that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I do remember that one.
So Powers and Project Almanac is basically the same movie, but two different movies.
Yes. Similar concept, I think.
Yeah. And so that's it. Just watch some science fiction. Science fiction is awesome. Even if it has zombies and aliens, whatever. Just watch some.
All right, A Scully stuff. I've been playing more Final Fantasy 16, but again, don't want to talk about it because I've not finished it yet. I'm maybe halfway through. I'll tell you about it when I'm finished with it because I don't want to talk about it every single week. So, Sito, what's for dinner?
Well, you decided we're having Subway because we've discovered,
yes,
as grown adults in our 50s with enough money that every week we eat out maybe once or twice a week. Over the course of the last, let's say, 3 years, the quality, and I say this laughingly, and I'm not insulting the individuals who do these jobs. Don't get me wrong. I have made sandwiches in a deli. I have served the public. I have sold booze and live bait, and I've pumped gas. I've worked in restaurants. I've been a bartender. I get it. It's a hard freaking job. I get that. However, the quality of things we've been getting, the amount of times when it's wrong, and I mean just wrong, or low quality, or done very poorly. It's not just once, right? It's not just a couple of times.
No, it's too many times.
It's
really.
like every single time.
It's not like we eat 7 days a week from takeaway.
No, the most we've ever was we get through a couple of years where like the 3 and 4 nights a week we would eat out because I worked till 7 p.m. and I would just grab something and come home. And that was like pre-pandemic. Let's put it this way. And I would drive through Burger King or drive through or go up to whatever. Now, this was also before delivery was a big deal and you could order on the apps and all that, right? So you had to like go there mostly. So you're like right there and they make it and they give it to you. They were fully staffed and whatever. And over the last few years, seriously, even when we tried to do a delivery and it gets home, it's wrong.
Yep.
Literally 90% of the time. So here's my solution. I go to Subway. I'm looking at the person. I actually become friendly with the person because I go to the same one all the time.
So they make a good sandwich for you.
Well, and you're talking to them. They're conscientious. The young man that works at this one Subway now, we kind of talk about, he's even talked about his future and what he plans to do. And he's gone to college. And while he's making my sandwiches, I'm old, so I give him some life advice. And I'm looking at what he's doing. And if he sprinkles a little tiny like a little bit of lettuce, I'll say, hey, man, can you put a little more lettuce on there? Oh, yeah, no problem. Sorry about that. Right. So I'm kind of in charge of the ship at this point. And then it turns out to be the way you want it. Again, I'm not being all whiny and like, boo-hoo, my sandwiches are wrong. But here's the deal. If I'm paying you, your company, not you individual person who's probably making very shitty money, right? But I'm paying the company to have leaders and management inside that company to make the people understand. Like, let them understand that when I walk in there and get a Subway sandwich, that you, my husband, A. Scully, love Subway. You love it. And
yes.
It actually makes your week when you're like, ooh, we're going to get Subway, right?
Yes.
Inject that truth about, and we're not the only ones, right? A lot of people love it. They might eat there every day. Who
knows?
The
biggest fast food restaurant in the world, I found out.
It is.
Bigger than any of the others.
And instead of injecting ideas like, you better get this sandwich done in 1.2 minutes and you better not, and don't throw away 7 shards of lettuce and like this, what I've witnessed in this maniacal dictatorships of a lot of restaurants and whatnot, not just Subway, I mean, a lot of places, right? Change the way you do it. Inject into the people that we understand. It's a crappy job because you're dealing with the public. But some of those public people, they're just people like you, some of them, not all of them. And they are going to appreciate what you do. Even if they don't say it or they don't show it and they're not all happy and whatever, they still are going home. You're making their food for them. Like you're creating their supper for them. You're giving them possibly their favorite food they've ever had in their life. If you're a leader in these companies and you get that across, now that's not an idealistic thing. Like, oh, every person who comes in is going to be nice, because here's the deal. One time I went into Subway and the young lady I had kind of got friendly with was telling me that earlier in the day, somebody came in, tried to scam her using someone else's name to get a sandwich. And she's telling me the story. She's like, I've actually seen the guy. And this woman's coming in here telling me she's getting his food. And I'm like, no, you're not. And she goes, she threatened to come back here and beat the crap out of me. And I called my owner guy and I told him, I'm like, this is not worth it. Like, so that's the kind of crap you do have to deal with.
Yeah.
I get that. But that's not everyone, right? I would just want companies to have some pride, maybe, and give the people who work for you some pride in what they do and how they interface with people. And if you build them up a little bit on that side of it, then dealing with the shitty part is still shitty, but you've got a little bit of like steel in your spine, you know, because like, well, the last 10 customers were all right and pretty friendly and really appreciative and left me a tip and talked to me like I'm a human being. And this asshole is just one asshole. So F off, asshole. I'm not even going to let you ruin my day, right? Whereas it's kind of the opposite now. Every time someone comes in, you feel like they're prepared for you to be the asshole, right? Which is fair, but it's really sad. So that is why that's a long story. That's why we're going to Subway, because I can control the situation.
Speaking of long stories, what's your advice?
It's not really a long story. It looks longer than it is. I just get really sick of people being like memes about, I miss the America I grew up with, and I miss the way the world was when I was a child and all this shit, right? You do realize that when you were a child and the grown-ups were looking back on their childhood, and then the grown-ups then look back on their childhood, every 20 years you're looking back, it's different, right? The world is different than it was 1,000,000 years ago, 1,000 years ago. It's different than it was yesterday. It's going to be different in 5 years and 1,000,000 years. Just deal with it. Jesus Christ. It's like, seriously, the idealistic, nostalgic, like, oh, my child was so good because I got muddy and my parents bossed me around and whooped my ass whenever I talked back to him. It was just so glorious and wonderful. And look what a great human being I am because of my childhood. It makes me want to vomit. So the world changes. People change. Humanity changes. The weather's going to change because we're on a rock hurling through space. It's not a controlled environment, right? It's going to change regardless of the cause. And I'm not going either direction here. I'm just saying it's changing. You and I, our marriage changes from 23 years ago to now. It's different. We're different people. We have different interests. We have a different life. You change with the changes. You adapt. You cling to some of the goodness and you want traditions and things. I get that. But now is also really good. There's a lot of good, and there's going to be a lot of good tomorrow. Some of the changes are going to be phenomenal and amazing. So just stop irritating me with those memes, please.
Thank you.
That's really the bottom line.
Thank you. All right, ascully.com. It's the website you can go to get this podcast. Or if you don't want to go to that website, you can also go to Spotify, iTunes, Amazon Music, YouTube. We've got a lot of new listeners on YouTube, interestingly. Welcome to all you YouTubers. Did you know we have a website also, ascully.com? We're also on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Well, I'm kind of on Twitter. Depends. So half of the day, maybe. You can email feedback to me, ascully@ascully.com. Don't email Sid Talk. She doesn't want your email. And stay classy. It's all about family.
See, that's one good thing about the Twitter changes is if someone sends you a message some other way and say, hey, I tried to communicate with you on Twitter, and go, oh, can't see it. Sorry. Exactly. I reached my limit. Again, I don't care about Twitter, so don't involve me. But and I'm going to say think for yourself, because if you don't do it, someone will do it for you.